I am just meeting today. My name is Tara Truax. I am super excited and honored to be here on this Monday morning with you guys, the day after Mother's Day. All of you moms, I hope you had a phenomenal Mother's Day. If you are not a mother, but you mother a lot of people, you mother animals, you mother plants, you mother this earth, I honor you too, because it is a job of what we do on a daily basis. And that includes the mothering we do in our business, right? Especially those of you that are women. Those of you, again, who don't know me, oh, good. You guys in the chat, go ahead, drop where you're watching from this morning. What time is it there? If you're on the Pacific Coast, seriously, I honor you. It is 11 on the East Coast here. Goes in. This is my first cup of coffee today too, and it's 11. Yeah. Goodness gracious. All right. So those of you who don't know my background, I am a retired professional dancer. I'm a board certified health and wellness coach. I'm currently getting my PhD in natural and quantum medicine. And I've been in network marketing for just about 11 years. And when I first began network marketing, it was an absolute accident. So in the chat, you guys, go ahead and drop a me emoji or a 1 if you got into network marketing by accident. Because here's what I learned. So back then it was like 2014, okay? And this was, oh, there's a lot of ones. There's a lot of happy accidents here. Okay, so this will be super good because I like happy accidents, because happy accidents lead to massive success if we learn from those happy accidents, because that's where we're ignorance on fire, right? We don't know that much, and because we don't know that much, we are open to so much more. We also can have a lot of unhappy accidents along the way, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So when I first came into network marketing, it was like 2014. That was back in the day where you could make one post on social media and it could explode. And that's truly what happened to me. I had a product that had a phenomenal result with me postpartum with my second baby. I did one post on social media and I had truly an accidental business. Now, I was not prepared for that. I was running a dance studio full time. I had a 4-year-old that was new, like at the height of before he was diagnosed on the spectrum. So he would cry from the moment he woke up in the morning till the time he went to bed at night. I had a brand new baby that I was nursing. I was running a dance studio full time. This was not, okay, the ideal quote time to start a business in my head, right? I had, as a professional dancer, you are always marketing yourself. That's actually part of the business. And I was a dancer. I am old enough to do this before YouTube and social media and all of that. We had to do it all in person. It was completely different. And that was how we built our personal brand and our personal selves as dancers, right? And so I already knew about that piece as well. But what I didn't know was that, number one, network marketing is a real business. It is not a fluke. It is not a scam. It is not, in my opinion, yes, you can make side income, but I don't even believe it's a side hustle. It is not, you can, do anything as a hobby, but a hobby takes more money than it contributes in your life. And network marketing, no matter how much time you put into it, should be an investment and bring into your family, because now, almost 11 years later, I do believe every single minute we invest into something that is an investment, we're taking time away from our most valuable people, which is usually our family or our pets or things that are very, very important to us. And so that needs to reap a reward in a way that contributes. And so at that time, I was making at that time, a lot of money, because I remember my husband being like, it was like, don't laugh, but it was like $900 something that month. And my husband was like, that's like more than a side business, because he worked in corporate. He was like hosting karaoke on the side. I was trying to teach dance as much as I could. And again, probably gonna date myself, but like the most you can make doing that, it's like $25 an hour or something. And so this was something I was doing at home with my babies, and it was really contributing. So I was like, oh man, I better learn some skills here. Like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even know. And that's where I didn't have anyone to teach me. I didn't have anyone to, I actually didn't have good people around me to model those things. In fact, I probably had people around me that were modeling the things that you shouldn't do, to be completely honest, which made some bigger hurdles for me along the way. And looking back, mistakes, I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, at least you can get back up and say, I'm sorry, and move forward, right? But in the process now of what I've learned in business is there is a difference between a CEO of your business and a CEUoh. And the CEUoh is somebody that does not have a plan, that is in constant reaction, that cannot teach that what you are doing, that will not, that is not paving the way for long-term success. And it's really, again, if I go back to that accidental business, yes, I can learn those things, like teach those things that I made mistakes on now, almost 11 years later. But at that time, I could not teach anyone what I was doing because I didn't know what I was doing. So with that in place, I'm going to talk about the things that make a strong CEO. Because whether you believe it or not, every single one of you is a sovereign owner of your own self and your own business and the actions you take every single day. As much as you can say, no, my kids, this person needs this, and that actually still is irrelevant because you have free choice, you have free will, and you still make those choices intentionally. Now, yes, someone might need something from you. You still choose those actions to do. So we're going to go through the differences in being a CEO and a CEUoh, not just in our vital health business or any business, but in your own personal life. So something, you guys, that I have any business owner, any business, like when I had the dance studio, like any business, is when you start a business, you have a business plan. So I'm curious, you guys, when you started your vital health business, did you map out a business plan for, you can go out a whole year, but I like it better to be the first 90 days in business. The reason being is when you map out a plan for your first 90 days in business, this gives you a destination. So if I'm going to drive from California to New York, I can do this in 2 days. I can do it in 2 weeks. But what I cannot do it in is 2 hours. I can't. It is absolutely not possible in our current reality to do it in 2 hours. When we set realistic goals in business, you cannot get to any goal without a destination and then working backwards realistically into creating that. That's where a business plan comes in, okay? This is where, all right, my next 90 days look like this, but my next 90 days after that look a different way. This is actually why, if you guys know me well, and some people that have worked with me for a long time do, my whole business, my whole life is actually broken into quarters. I work my year in business in quarters. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, just like structured corporate America. That's important because I have what I call shareholders in my business. Those shareholders are my husband and my 3 kids and my animals that are like giant humans as well. So those shareholders take time. That's an investment, right? Those are people that invest in me, that I take time away from, and that they are part of what I'm doing to create. So those shareholders require different things in my seasons, you guys. January to January, February, March, first quarter of the year, that's gonna look different than April, May, and June, which will look different than July, August, September, which will look different than October, September. I don't know the months right now, but September, November, and December. They look different. And when we work in a 90-day period, when we work in those quarters, we know things we have to do. We know maybe it's a certain season for our kids, whether it's baseball or soccer or dance or whatever. We know when our kids are going to be home or away. We know maybe we have a big trip scheduled, or we're traveling, or there's 5 weddings in that season or whatever. You have to realistically look at your time and look at what you actually have in business as you're scaling and planning your own time. That's what a CEO does. A CEO does not do what I did when I first launched a business and have like babies and crying and all the things and be like, well, it's a lot. They would look at that time. In fact, if you go and look at when Vital Health was started, it was specific. You guys, they signed their paperwork on 2/22/2022. Very intentionally. There was intention behind that. So a CEO maps that out and looks at that. If you decide, oh man, I'm going to California to New York in 2 hours, you guys, you can't even fly that fast. So what that does is it sets you up for what I call goal fatigue. When you continue to set unrealistic processes and goals into place in your life that you cannot possibly ever achieve, and then beat yourself up for not being good enough, worthy enough, or skilled enough to do it, and it wasn't even possible. Now, not to say we're not here to break the limits and challenge possibilities and all of that, but you actually have to create those realistic things in place, just like a business plan. Now, if I go and I'm going to the bank because I'm going to open a brick and mortar and I have that business plan in place, I don't just have a dream and hope on a piece of paper, you guys. I have it mapped out. Who is going to be doing business with me? Where am I going to be doing business? How am I going to be doing business? Who am I marketing to? You guys, this is a key. I could do a whole training on creating a proper marketing plan for your business, but you are network marketers. Therefore, you must have a marketing plan. And I will get a little bit into this today, but not super detailed because I could do a whole training just on this. But do you have a marketing plan? Who are you even talking to? You have to know those things when you create that business plan. This here is what we do with our launch. You guys, we will get, last week, if you didn't go back and or listen live on the recording of creating your living vision, that why. If not, you can go back and watch the recording on the podcast. It's from 5/5 and get clear on where you are 5 years from now when you wake up on your birthday. Because here's the thing. If you don't know why you're doing your vital health business, it's very hard to communicate that to anybody in your world to then do business for you. Simon Sinek wrote a phenomenal book called It Starts With Why. And if you guys have not read that book, I'm going to highly recommend you listen and read that book. But in that book, he goes into detail on when we are selling anything and we are marketers, therefore we are selling, the most important thing you're selling is yourself. You're going into business with you, and the CEO knows that. A CEO also knows their strengths and their balances and their weaknesses. But a CEO is going to have a mission, and that mission is going to be part of the business plan. So I'm going to give you an example of what Simon Sinek talks about with what Apple uses, because Apple always is selling the why. This is why Apple outdid BlackBerry, and BlackBerry went out of business, and he goes in depth in that, you guys, in The Infinite Game of Business. Also a phenomenal book he wrote, phenomenal book. That they went out of business because they were BlackBerry was so focused on the what. And a what can have a formula change. It can go outdated. There's so many things that can happen, but a why does not. So Apple, for their why, it goes to everything we do. We believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. That's their why. Now, from their why, their next piece goes into their how. Their how. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Now they get to the what. And what we happen to make is great computers. Each one of you as a CEO needs to do this for your personal self. Why are you showing up in your business every single day? If you cannot get clear with that, how do you know what you're even going to attract or market to? And I will share with you mine. My why goes to I'm showing up as the highest version of myself, allowing others to show up as the highest version of themselves in ease, joy, grace, abundance, and gratitude. Then it moves to my how. My how is by showing up authentically in all areas of my life. I give space for others to do the same using systems that are simple, duplicatable, and user-friendly. And then I go into my what. And I happen to have partnered with great products, a great comp plan, and a killer company. Now people will believe you. Now people buy you. And in network marketing, where I hate to tell you this, but we're all telling you this, how do you do that? You get clear in your business who you are, what you contribute. Now, when you get really clear in that, you guys, it gets way easier to design your ideal business partner. Now, what CEO goes to work the first day and is like, oh, I guess I need to hire someone. Let me just go hire this guy off the street. He'll have the skills he needs, or I need, maybe. Is that what really happens? We know that that's not the case. See, when Vital Health started, you had Tony and Alex, and then you had them bring in Gustavo and Alberto, all different skills, all different personalities, all different strengths to create synergy together, because together they were stronger. They were smart about this. Then from that, they built on and added Jorge and Daniel and David. And now we have Olga. And we are building a structured leadership that creates stability. And over that, they have the directors of each area, from the warehouses to, and from there they have the employees, and it takes some of the pressure off of them. They are building strong teams. That's what we also do in network marketing. See, if we run our network marketing business very much like a corporate company, we will have success in these areas, but you cannot hire somebody with the skill level of a CEO that is somebody that is packaging products. They're different. And we're actually going to have different people within our businesses with different talents, different abilities, and different skill levels as well. But we want to know how we recruit these people. So you guys, who is your ideal business partner? Do you know? If I said right now, you had to go post on LinkedIn a job description of someone you were looking to hire, could you write it out so specific? Because I'll, like, for a fact, my husband is an executive for a huge company. There's like the VP and the CEO above him. That's it. Okay. In order for him to hire somebody up at his level directly under him, he has recruiters going through thousands and thousands and thousands of resumes for a very specific job that he has posted. And after those recruiters have done that, then they bring them like 10, they weed those out to like 5, they weed those out to like 3, and then he interviews them. The VP interviews them. Who they're working with within the team interviews them. And you guys, that process could take 9 months to fill an executive position. And then there's no, I've seen it with him, no guarantee that person will actually be a great fit and they could leave. And it took 9 months to fill that position. But then they have other people that are at a different level, a different pay grade, a different, that they're like investigators that work for him. And that process, the interviews, they come in, it's fast, the turnover is fast because the skill level is different. You guys all want to recruit these huge, great leaders. And yet, even in corporate America, that's not something that happens overnight. Some of you, though, because you're so not clear in your own vision and purpose, you're not marketing to the vision and purpose of those that you want to work with. So, is your content even attracting those that you want to work with? Everything that goes out on social media, you guys, is your content. That's you. Everything you put out there, you cannot identify that as someone else because you are the owner of your business and your life. You own that. You have to choose that. Everything that comes out of your mouth in the world, the people you meet at the grocery store, the people you meet at your kids' games, all of that is you. You have to be responsible for that. What are you talking about? What are you sharing? What are you putting out there? And are you the business partner you even want to work with? A CEUoh brings people into their business out of desperation. A CEUoh, here, let me give you an example. You open a brick and mortar in your town. You take $100,000 loan from the bank to open that brick and mortar. And the business partner that you were going to open it with doesn't call you back, doesn't show up. We'll call you back maybe 2 weeks later and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I was busy. Is that going to be a good investment in a business partner when you have $100,000 loan? Someone said that happened to me, and I am so sorry that happened to you. On your back? No. But here's the thing, you guys, you know your vital health business. This is going to be a multi-billion-dollar business, whether you choose to funnel that through your own business or not. That is your own CEO mentality of the business plan you design for yourself. That is 100%. People ask me what my business plan looks like. I guarantee you 99.9% of you, probably David and Brooke and maybe a couple other people would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But very few of you would even want to do what I'm doing. And I know that, and I'm not dumb. I wouldn't put that out there for everyone, nor would I expect everyone to do that. But I also have very clear vision, huge passion in my heart to make sure, and commitment to make sure that we are the change in this industry and we become that, and I protect it fiercely. And I can't do that sitting on the sidelines because I am the CEO of my business. I am the CEO of my name. I am the CEO of my brand, and I own that. Are you those things? And are you taking those actions? Or are you a CEUoh? And that is okay if you go, crap, I'm a CEO over here and I'm killing it, but over here I'm a CEUoh. That's okay because that's proper assessment. And from there, when we can clearly assess and be aware of something, that's where we can make change. It's in the dark when we're blind to it, we can't make change. So look at it and say, darn, that's not what I wanted, and adjust. The other thing a CEO always is we over me. Always. And you can see it even in posting. Some people are on a me show. That is an ego-driven thing that will not last long-term. They may have short-term success, but it is not long-term. A CEO is we. It is the vision of everyone. It is actually casting a umbrella over everyone that will protect everyone long-term. Doesn't matter when you come in, if it's right now or in 10 years, that umbrella is cast for the greater good of we. CEOs respond. They don't react. This is the hardest part in business. Responding versus reacting includes you shooting quick texts back. It includes firing off on social media. It includes someone's pissed off at you and you jump on and you react instead of pausing and asking yourself a true question. What is your desired outcome? People that know me, I know I say this all the time because I say to my husband, I'll say to my husband, if he's smart, like if he comes back with me like totally sassy, I will look right at him and say, what was your desired outcome for talking to me that way? Did you get what you wanted? 99% of the time, by the way, it's no. And there's like a fix there. But you have to realize sometimes we react, but we haven't looked at what our actual desired outcome is. And that we have to pause to be wise to respond. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in. CEOs have high emotional intelligence. Now, I have been around CEOs who do not have high emotional intelligence. And just because they were in the position of a CEO doesn't necessarily mean they were a CEO. There was a lot of CEOh things happening that they eventually would get themselves into trouble. We don't want that for you. I want you to be such an empowered CEO that every decision you make is based on your standards and your values. Do you know what your standards and values are? A strong CEO does. I have really strong boundaries in certain areas of my life that I will not cross anymore. From years and years and years of doing it a different way that actually broke me down. Could it be tough in certain situations? Yes, because I hold those very strong. But in the end, it is a reward that protects everyone in my business because those standards and values are strong. What are your standards and values? But that emotional intelligence, you guys, that overall goal, and it's not about just your personal feelings. That is strong CEO. Lines I use, and write these down if they're helpful. I use it all the time when stuff happens because we are in the relationship business. We are in business with people. A CEO, even if they're an IT company or whatever, they're still in the business of people, you guys. Everybody we engage with on a daily basis, those are people, whether online or in person, they're still people with personalities. And personalities have things that have happened behind them. The personalities in our life are going to trigger different things. People are going to remind us of our mom and our dad and our sister and the friend 5 years ago that did something awful. People will do that. It's normal because we're people. But our emotional intelligence and how we respond, not react, can be a complete game changer. Because I see more people make emotional decisions in business that cost them millions of dollars than anything else. And if they would have waited to respond based on their values, there are people that make choices in business and you're like, oh, I don't agree with that, but it was a choice and it was based on their standards and values. That's different than making an emotional decision that costs not just yourself greatly, but a whole lot of other people greatly. And someday I will tell you a story of something that I had to do in that same sense to protect a lot of people's paycheck when it was really, really hard of what was happening. I had to do it because I had hundreds of six-figure earners. I had to protect their families' paychecks, even though mine was hurting. It didn't matter. I had to protect them. That is what a CEO does. It's not personal. But what I ask myself is, the story I'm telling myself is, so someone comes back at you and is super rude or snappy, and you can jump and you can take it personal and so many different things, but you could also just say, okay, the story I'm telling myself about that way that person spoke to me is that I did something wrong, and you can just list it. You don't have to verbally say this to anyone. You can easily have this, what I do is in my head, but you can do it on paper, whatever. The story I'm telling myself is, and then you go into the story you're telling yourself from the things that have happened. It is a story. It is not the truth. The truth is only in the current state of reality. Everything else is made up in your mind. David talked about that on Friday on his podcast. It is our perception of the thoughts we think. So the story you're telling yourself is. The other question I continue to ask is, what is right about this I'm not seeing? Things are going to go off. And I don't even say wrong, because there actually is no right or wrong. It's just perception. But things are going to go off from your path of where you thought you were going to go. What is right about this you're not seeing? And what else is possible here? Those alone can open up a dialogue so you're not reacting, but you're responding. And it goes back to the clear destination of where you want to be. And that goes back to the first destination of that business plan of where you're growing to. So if you don't know why you're here, if you don't know personally what that is, I'm going to encourage you to go back to the beginning. You're the CEO of your life. You're the CEO of your business. Let's design that business plan today. Let's get a clear destination of where you want to be in your vital health business. And like I said, I love the living vision in 5 years is on purpose, because we get to work backwards. Once you know where you're going, you can then plan the destinations along the way to get there and be realistic in the time frame, realistic in what you have going in your life and others around you. Be realistic and respectful. And you will be an incredible CEO and not a CEOh. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys have a phenomenal Monday. Go write that business plan. Go write that ideal business partner. Go write it out. Go write up. If you had to do a post today to hire someone in your business, write it out so clear that if you were to post it, and I don't think you really should, but if you were to post it, that person would apply. Now build your content on that. Show up in the world on that. And I promise you, it might not be today, but it will build over time and you will have a really strong foundation. You guys, Vital Health did not start where they are now. Vital Health started with 4 guys, 2 that built to 4 with a clear vision and a work ethic that's like crazy. You do that and watch what happens. All right, you guys, have a great week and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.